Fame looks permanent. Money feels infinite. But behind the lights, the clock is already ticking. In the music industry, wealth arrives fast and disappears faster. Contracts are signed before understanding. Trust is given before protection. And success creates the illusion of safety where none exists. Tonight, this is not a story about bad luck. This is not about talent wasted. This is about millions earned and everything lost. Behind every fortune that vanished overnight is a system designed to take first and teach later, if at all. Some survived long enough to tell the story. Others didn't. These are the rock stars who had everything and lost it all. Mick Hammer, when millions vanished overnight at the height of his fame, MC Hammer wasn't just successful, he was untouchable. Record sales exploded into the tens of millions. Endorsements flooded in. His image was everywhere. For a brief moment, Hammer represented the dream of instant wealth made real. And then it collapsed. Hammer spent money as if success were permanent. A mansion with over 100 rooms. A personal staff of nearly 200 people. Friends, relatives, entourage, everyone was on payroll. The money flowed outward faster than it came in. Contracts were signed without scrutiny. Advisors went unquestioned. No one said no. When the income slowed, reality hit brutally. Monthly expenses reached millions. The illusion of endless cash shattered. In 1996, Hammer filed for bankruptcy, reporting over $13 million in debt. The fall was sudden, public, and humiliating. What made the collapse so haunting was its speed. One year, he symbolized excess. The next, cautionary ruin. Hammer didn't lose money. Gradually, he lost everything almost at once. His story exposed the most dangerous lie of fame, that success teaches survival. It doesn't, it teaches consumption. Kurt Cobain, millions earned. Nothing secured. Kurt Cobain became the voice of a generation that despised money, fame, and control. Ironically, that rebellion made him millions. Nirvana's rise was explosive, but behind the scenes, the finances were chaos. Cobain had little interest in contracts or accounting. He trusted others to manage what he refused to touch. Publishing rights, royalty splits, and legal structures were ignored or misunderstood. As Nirvana's income skyrocketed, control slipped further away from him. Addiction drained resources. Lawsuits loomed. Medical bills mounted. The pressures of sudden wealth crushed a man who already felt trapped. Despite enormous earnings, Cobain's actual access to money was limited, unstable, and constantly threatened by the time of his death. The myth of rock star wealth hid a darker truth. Cobain had power, fame, and influence, but no sense of ownership over his life or finances. His loss wasn't just monetary. It was existential. Millions passed through his name, but none of it ever brought safety. Elvis Presley, the king who died, controlled. Elvis Presley earned more money than almost any artist of his era. Movies, records, merchandise, his empire was vast. But Elvis never truly owned it. Colonel Tom Parker controlled nearly every financial decision. Contracts favored the manager, not the artist. Elvis trusted completely in nothing. Over time, his earnings were siphoned, redirected, and limited. Lavish spending masked the truth. Medical dependency increased expenses. Tours became obligations, not choices. The image of wealth remained, but real control disappeared. By the end of his life, Elvis was rich in legend, but financially constrained. After his death, it became clear that King had been financially imprisoned. His fortune survived only because others took control after he was gone. Elvis lost everything slowly, silently, while the world believed he had it all. Billy Idol, Addiction 8, the fortune. Billy Idol's image screamed rebellion, danger, and excess. Offstage, that excess consumed everything. Cocaine addiction in the 1980s. Wasn't a habit, it was a financial black hole. Millions vanished into parties, dealers, medical emergencies, and legal trouble. Career momentum stalled. Income dried up while expenses multiplied. Near-fatal overdoses and a devastating motorcycle accident ended his earning peak. While Idol survived, his fortune didn't. What he lost wasn't just money, it was time. Years of income disappeared into recovery and regret. His survival came at the cost of everything he built. Fame returned later. Wealth never fully did. Vince Neil, privilege without control. Vince Neil lived as if consequences were optional. Fame arrived suddenly, money followed instantly, and restraint never entered the equation. In the peak years of MTLI Crew, Neil's income was enormous, but so was his recklessness. Wealth wasn't managed. It was burned. Alcohol-fueled nights blurred into years of excess. Legal settlements drained accounts. Reckless behavior escalated beyond myth into irreversible reality. Death entered the story not as metaphor, but as fact. Lawsuits followed, not quietly, but publicly. Money disappeared, not through bad luck, but through negligence. What separates Vince Neil from romanticized rock downfalls is the permanence of damage. These weren't stories fans could laugh off. Lives were altered forever. Careers stalled. Trust evaporated. The money paid legal costs, settlements, and silence, but it couldn't erase memory. As income declined, the illusion collapsed. Neil's reputation suffered permanent scars. His fortune shrank. His legacy shifted from excess to cautionary tale. This wasn't a glamorous fall. It was preventable, avoidable, and tragic in its carelessness. Millions gone. Respect eroded. A career forever defined by what should never have happened. Nikki Sixx, almost losing everything, including life. Nikki Sixx didn't lose his money first. He lost his body. Heroin addiction consumed everything: finances, health, credibility, and control. At his lowest point, survival became the only priority. Wealth meant nothing when death was near. Money vanished into addiction cycles, drugs, hospitals, isolation, chaos. Recording stalled. Touring collapsed. Relationships disintegrated. The industry watched, waiting for either recovery or obituary. Then came the moment that defined everything. Sixx was declared dead. Clinically gone, revived. What returned to life afterward was not a rock star, but a man standing in the wreckage of his own creation. Recovery rebuilt his future, but it did not restore the past. The original fortune was gone. The lost years could not be repurchased. Nikki Sixx survived, but survival does not reverse damage. It only allows understanding. His story proves a brutal truth. Making it back doesn't mean getting it back. Johnny Ramone, influence without income of the Ramones, changed music forever. Punk rock exists because of them, yet financially, they were almost invisible. Johnny Ramone lived cautiously, avoided excess, and distrusted indulgence, but none of that mattered. Bad contracts defined the band's existence. Royalties were minimal. Ownership was limited. Touring was relentless, but cultural influence exploded while financial compensation barely moved. Johnny didn't gamble his money away. He never had the chance. The system denied him before he could lose anything. Fame arrived without ownership. Legacy grew without income. When the history books were written, Johnny's influence was undeniable, but his bank account told a different story. His loss wasn't dramatic. It was structural, quiet, systemic, sometimes. Everything is lost, not through mistakes, but through exclusion. Gary Coleman. Exploited until empty. Gary Coleman earned millions before he understood money. Childhood fame created wealth, but adults controlled it. Managers, parents, lawyers, and courts surrounded him. Decisions were made without consent. Trusts were created and emptied. Lawsuits followed. Promises were broken. Accounts vanished. By the time Coleman reached adulthood, the fortune that defined his childhood no longer existed. Fame remained. Money did not. His later life became survival, labor, small jobs, public appearances, financial struggle. The contrast was cruel. A man once synonymous with success, now fighting to stay afloat. Gary Coleman didn't overspend. He wasn't reckless. He was exploited. His story isn't about excess, it's about control. Taken too early and never returned, millions disappeared before he even knew how to ask where they went. David Bowie, the near total the 1970s, David Bowie stood on the edge of total ruin. Cocaine addiction consumed his health and his finances. Mismanagement drained accounts. Legal chaos followed success. The money flowed out faster than it came in. For a period, Bowie was functioning only through momentum. Touring continued. Music was made, but beneath it all, collapse loomed. He was nearly bankrupt financially and physically. Unlike many others, Bowie recognized the danger in time. He retreated. He rebuilt control. He restructured ownership. He survived. That survival makes the near loss darker. Bowie was inches from disappearing completely. His recovery wasn't luck, it was discipline learned at the brink. He escaped the system only after it nearly consumed him. When the money is gone, the silence is loud. No crowds, no contracts, no protection, only the echo of what once was. For some, survival came too late. For others, survival changed nothing. The industry moved on untouched, unaccountable. What remains are songs, cautionary tales, and empty bank accounts where millions once lived. Fame promised immortality. Money promised security. Neither kept their word. This wasn't failure. This was the cost of the machine, and it's still running.